Good morning, Primary Chapel. I hope you're having an awesome day today and that you're excited to be alive. I just wanted to welcome you to join me this morning as I go and spend a little bit of time with God out in nature. All right, let's get ready for the drive. Morning again, Primary Chapel. We've just arrived at our special destination this morning. Now I was thinking, what is one of the most important things we need if we want to be brave? I think one of the most important things we need is knowing God and having a relationship with God. See, God knows you. He knows everything about you. He cares about you. He knows the number of hairs on your head. But at the same time, we need to get to know Him. We need to have a relationship with Him so that we can know what kind of things He says He will do, what kind of promises He says He will keep. And the best place to find those promises and the things that He says He will do are right here in this special book called the Bible. So I've got my stuff ready and we're going to take it all down to this lovely little lookout, and hopefully this morning we can see the sun coming up nice and early. All right, let's go have a look, eh? Good morning, Primary Chapel. Hope you're having a great day. I've got some very exciting news to share. Right now, in 1 minute, the sun is going to break up over the edge and it's going to rise. Now, sadly, the sun's rising over there somewhere, but when we aim the camera over there, all you see is trees. But over here, we see a nice view, and you can see some of that beautiful golden color coming up, that red color coming up under the clouds over there, because the sun is rising and God is opening up a whole new day that we can experience and have fun with today. And I'm really excited to see what today holds, to see what else God wants to teach us. And the part that you saw early in the video was me reading the Bible before sunrise, when it's called dawn, when there's just a little bit of light in the sky. And as the sun slowly comes up, the dawn changes and gets brighter until sunrise actually happens. So right now, sunrise is happening. Right now as we sing. So why don't we sing some songs together? Light of the world, you step down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see beauty that days, oh so highly exalted, glorious in heaven above. Humbly you came to the earth you created, all for love's sake you came poor. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. I'll never know how much it costs to see my sin upon that cross. I'll never know how much it costs to see my sin upon that cross. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. I can hear some birds singing along with me today, hanging out up there in the trees. It's very cold here. My fingers are freezing. Woo, mate. What a lovely day it is today. And I'm so excited to be alive. We have 2 more songs to sing today. What a beautiful day it is today, and what a lovely song that was. God is really awesome, and He is always loving it when we sing to Him and when we worship Him in singing. We're going to sing another song now. Just a verse and chorus of this song. Ready? Who am I that the highest King would welcome me? While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, He died for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. Free at last, He has ransomed me. His grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, He died for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. Wow, what a beautiful song that is. I'm a child of God. Do you know that God has a place for you in his house too? And that when he returns one day, he's going to be taking us all home to be with him. I think that's amazing. My God loves me, and all the wonders I see. The rainbow shines through my window. My God loves me. My God loves me, and all the wonders I see. The rainbow shines through my window. My God loves me. The rainbow shines through my window. My God loves me. It's good to see you, Primary Chapel, and I'm very glad that we can talk again this week. We had a chat last week about being brave and having integrity, and how integrity helps us to be more brave. That's making the right choice even when nobody is watching. We talked about rock climbing. Well, today we are going to be talking about a little bit slightly different part of what it means to be brave. Now, I know that many of you and myself have had times when we were scared about things. The disciples had times when they were scared about things too. Like the time when Jesus came walking on the water and they were looking at him and they said, "It's a ghost." And then Jesus said, "Don't worry, it is I, the Lord." So he came over and he spent some time with them. Or the other time when the disciples were in the water and they were in the storm and they thought the boat was going to sink and they were panicking and waking up Jesus, so scared. And Jesus said, "Why do you have so little faith?" And he stood up and he calmed the storm. Jesus was pretty brave, but there was even a time when Jesus was scared, and that was when he went to the cross. And just before he went to the cross, he was in the garden praying to God and saying, "God, please, if there's any other way that this can be done, if there's any other way for me to save all these people from their sin, then please help me to know what to do right now. But if not, we will do what needs to be done." And Jesus went ahead and he was so brave and he died on the cross for you and for me. That is so amazing. But today I want to tell you a little bit of a story about one of the disciples who kind of struggled with something a little bit. His name was Peter. So the soldiers and the commanding officer and the temple guards arrested Jesus, and they tied him up, and they took him to Annas, the father-in-law of Caiaphas, the high priest that year. Caiaphas was the one who had told the Jewish leaders about Jesus. Simon Peter, now that's Peter, the disciple of Jesus, was following along behind, as did the other disciples. They were all coming along and sneaking to see what was going to happen to Jesus. That other disciple who was acquainted with the high priest was also there, so he was allowed to come in to the house. Peter stood outside the gate, and the other disciple spoke to the woman watching the gate, so she let Peter in. And they came into the house, and they could see Jesus talking with all of the people who were asking him lots of questions. The woman asked Peter, "Aren't you one of Jesus' disciples, Peter?" Or, well, she didn't know his name, but she said, "Aren't you one of Jesus' disciples?" And Peter thought to himself, "Do I tell the truth or do I tell a lie?" Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes it feels like it's easier to tell a lie. Like maybe if you went to the kitchen cupboard and there was one chocolate bar left and you looked around, nobody's watching, and you eat that chocolate bar. And then mum comes back home later and she wants to eat that chocolate bar. She opens the cupboard and says, "Hey, where's the last chocolate bar?" And then you go, do I tell the truth or do I tell a lie? Sometimes it's easier to tell the truth. Sometimes it's easier to tell a lie. But I can't think of any time when it was good to tell a lie. In fact, I can't think of any example when it's good to tell a lie. but I know that telling the truth is an important thing. Jesus said when he was here with his disciples, I am the way and the truth and the life. He understood how important truth is. In fact, he said, if you want to know truth, you have to know me because I am the truth. And Jesus also said, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Just like the song we were singing today, free at last. The truth can set us free. But when we tell lies, it can get us in trouble. It can make us feel guilty. We can do things that we feel, whoopsies, I shouldn't have done that. And it can make us feel a little bit scared as well. Whereas when we tell the truth, telling the truth is actually the brave thing to do. Now, I wonder what Peter said when she asked if he was a disciple of Jesus. See, Peter was a little scared that night. He had a choice. Do I do the brave thing and say, yes, I am a disciple of Jesus, I am his friend? Or do I say, no, I don't even know the man, and pretend that he didn't even know him? Well, let's see. The woman asked Peter, aren't you one of Jesus' disciples? No, he said. No, I'm not one of his disciples. And the guards and the household servants were standing around a charcoal fire that they had made because it was cold. And Peter stood there and he warmed himself by the fire. And he thought, yeah, you know what, it's probably better if people don't know who I really am. It's probably better if they don't know that I'm friends with Jesus because I don't want to get arrested either. So Peter was, kind of hiding like a spy. Now I have a question for you. Do you think he was being brave? Or do you think that fear got the better of him? Okay, it happened again. Jesus was talking with the leaders in this house. They were asking him all different questions. They were asking Jesus, well, what were you teaching, Jesus? We don't like what you were teaching. Because the religious leaders at the time saw Jesus as a threat because people started to follow Jesus and they wanted them to follow them. They wanted them to follow their beliefs. But they started to follow Jesus because they could see the truth in Jesus. And they were annoyed by that. And they said, Jesus, what are you teaching? And Jesus said, you know what? I'm teaching the same thing I've always been teaching. And there's nothing secret. Everything I taught was in the open and everyone could see because Jesus had nothing to hide. He always told the truth. And one of the temple guards standing there struck Jesus on the face. Man, that is so mean. Is that the way to answer a high priest? He demanded. And Jesus replied, if I said anything wrong, you must give evidence for it. Should you hit a man for telling the truth? And Jesus understood that the man didn't do the right thing when he gave him a slap on the face. At the same time, Peter was standing by the fire. And they asked him again, aren't you one of his disciples? And Peter had the same choice to make. Do I choose to do the brave thing, or do I tell a lie? And Peter said, no, I'm not one of his disciples. That was the second time. But one of the household servants of the high priest, a relative of the man whose ear Peter had cut off. Now, I don't know if you remember the story before when they came and arrested Jesus in the garden. Peter was so upset and they saw him coming to arrest Jesus, so he grabbed his sword. He had a little sword. He pulled it out and he ran over and he went to chop the guy, and he didn't actually hit anything except for his ear. I think the guy probably tried to dodge, and as the sword came, it went and cut his ear. And Jesus took the man's ear and he healed the man and fixed his ear right there. And he said to Peter, hey Peter, don't use that sword, because those who live by the sword will die by the sword. So Peter put his sword away and went away. And that was the relative of that man who saw Peter and asked him the third time if he knew who Jesus was. And he said to Peter, didn't I see you out there in the olive grove with Jesus? I swear I saw you there. And again, Peter denied it, which means that Peter lied. And it says right after that, the rooster crowed. And Peter realized that he had done something that wasn't brave. He realized that he had betrayed Jesus. And he realized it wasn't the right thing to do. And he felt so sad. it says in the Bible that Peter started to cry. And it even says that he didn't just cry, it said that he whipped. Sorry, not whipped. He didn't whip. He wasn't going, he didn't whip. He wept, which is like crying heaps. He wept bitterly. So he was so sad, he felt so guilty when he told a lie. And he realized that he had turned away and denied Jesus, which was, oh man, the worst feeling ever. And not only that, Jesus was going up to the cross, and he thought he wouldn't even be able to say sorry or make it right with Jesus. Luckily for Peter, Jesus didn't die and stay dead. Jesus rose again. And after Jesus rose again, he came down and he came and met with Peter and his other disciples, and he talked with them. And he even talked with Peter specifically. And he said, Peter, do you love me? And Peter had the opportunity to say, I'm sorry, and to make it right with Jesus, which is very important for us. Now, sometimes telling the truth can be easy. Like when the teacher says, have you finished doing the maths question? And you already have finished the maths question. So you say, yes, I finished the math question. That's a very easy time to tell the truth. But sometimes it's hard to tell the truth. And in those times when it's really hard to tell the truth, you have to choose to do the brave thing. You have to choose to do the right thing and say, even though I want to tell a lie, I'm going to choose to tell the truth. And when you tell the truth, it will set you free, like Jesus said. The truth can make us feel free, whereas when we tell a lie, it can make us feel guilty. It can make us feel sad. It can make us wish that we never said it. Sometimes we can tell lies without someone asking you a question. Maybe we might tell a lie about someone else at school. Maybe we might tell a lie about something that they might have done when they didn't do it. Maybe we might say something that isn't true about someone at school. And that's not very kind. It can actually really hurt that person, and it can also cause some real trouble. But when we tell the truth about people, we say, oh yeah, they're a good friend, or yeah, no, they have been kind to me, and we tell the truth and we're very kind to other people. Things go very well for us at school. So our challenge for you this week, as you go into the next 7 days, we challenge you to be brave and to choose to tell the truth instead of telling lies. The truth is definitely the best way to go. And I can't even think of one example or one time when telling a lie is a good thing to do. So, Primary Chapel, there is your challenge. Tell the truth, because it is the brave thing to do. Charcoal. Thank you for joining me today, Primary Chapel, and for coming along on that little adventure and that journey and that story about telling the truth, and about how Peter struggled to tell the truth when he was afraid, when he saw Jesus going in and getting questioned like that and getting in trouble. So I hope that you have an awesome day today, and that you enjoy your time with your friends at school, and that you are kind to each other, and that you learn some interesting things today. And I'll look forward to seeing you today and tomorrow at school. It's going to be awesome. Okay, have a good day. See ya.